Just when you think it's done, we are not. We're doing the Sunspray Summer Resort. This is the flagship event of Genshin right now, and I did I did some gameplay of, well, I didn't record, but I have played a little bit of this. So basically, we're at the part where we went into this settlement. We are now into the like inn we're staying at right now. That's what I remember about it anyway. And yeah, complete the specified objectives in the Easy Breeze album. Okay, which one's the closest? This one. And yes, this is at the same day as we did the our conquest. That message was for the YouTube. For Twitch, nah. The objective stuff, like the things here that you need to do, I'll do this off stream. I can't be bothered streaming that. I'm still more comfortable doing rather playing games off stream, even though I do like live streaming sometimes. But gaming is not really my thing. I just want to yap with something in the background. But anyways,
Here we are. So, these must be the foam flower fields marked on the map.
Oh, how come it's all so
nice frame drops there.
green?
Looks more like foam grass fields to me.
It's not exactly what I imagined either, but that happens a lot.
You mean false advertising? Yeah. When it's as bad as this, I usually file a complaint.
Right.
Otherwise, my tour groups would file a complaint about me.
No, sorry. I should have been more specific. I mean more like when reality doesn't live up to your expectations. That happens to me a lot.
Oh,
Oh, because of...
well, that's sad.
Yeah, it's things like climbing to the top of a mountain to see the view, only for a thick fog to roll in. You can barely see 2 feet in front of you. Or gathering a bunch of firewood, only to find that a pyro slime snuck into your tent and set it all on fire.
Unlucky.
Oh man, that's rough.
Eh, I've gotten used to it by now. What adventure doesn't have a few bumps in the road?
I mean, true, but
So, when you
not
think about it,
all the
being
times.
able to enjoy this vast, open scenery, fresh air all around and no monsters in sight, I'd call that some pretty remarkable luck.
Well, yeah.
What's even more remarkable is your ability to stay positive.
Yeah, true. Like, if I was this
Oh, hey,
unlucky,
I think the Asha found something.
I might as well just give up.
Jeez, you can understand each other already? You two must be on the same wavelength or something.
Oh shit. Scribbled notes. That Asha's really just a bad omen. Was it so obsessed with dyeing the flower fields in such ominous colors? Yesterday it was a mess of purple and orange, like a twisting flying serpent from the desert. The day before that was an awful clash of red and green, with circles of all shapes and sizes scattered throughout. A single glance forces me to stop and consciously regulate my breathing for a while, lest my heart starts skipping bars instead of beats. The creature may fancy itself an artist, but its art is avant-garde to the point of absurdity. Would, who could even stand to look at these? Lately, I've been spending all my time waging war against it. I once wondered if I could block it out, keep it from entering the play area, but the whole field is too large to block off. I tried to block the Asha's route itself, but by the time I set up a fence, I realized the blasted thing had jumped higher than a Yamkasaurus. And once I dropped my guard, it got right back to its artistic endeavors. I swear it's driving me crazy. I can't chase it. I can't catch it. It paints and I clean up, and I tell you, clean up takes forever. Once I wipe the sweat of my once I wipe the sweat off my brow, I raise my hand, my brow. I raise my head and get to the sight of its next painting. Does it have something against me? We go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth every day. I dare say that fitness maniac coach from the collective of Plenty doesn't work out half as much as been made to. The resort's about to open for business. This cannot continue. Today I swallowed my pride and begged, please, oh great Asha, please stop painting. Let me eat and sleep in peace. It chirped back in some language I didn't understand, but it ceased this painting. Good. Let's just leave the fields blank. Emptiness is the greatest form of beauty. I can finally go get some food, and I hope that the Asha give me more time. Otherwise, I don't know how long I can keep this up.
Wow! The archiest of arch enemies.
Damn.
If they were both people, maybe they could sit down and talk it out, but one's an Asha.
Come on, let's lend a hand. You ready, Asha?
Whoa, wait a second. How do we skip straight to action mode? Paimon doesn't even know what the game plan is.
If you think about what the Asha love doing most, it must be dyeing things different colors, right?
Yeah, and?
And they're simple, pure-hearted beings. So I doubt that Asha is here to cause trouble on purpose. The little guy probably just can't stand how dull and uninspiring all this plain grass looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's not like he could communicate any
Jinx.
of that.
Right. So if we help dye the meadow in a range of vibrant colors, turn it into an actual flower field,
We can make that Asha happy and help out the staff member at the same time.
took the words right out of my mouth.
Huh. A little conflict mediation. I like the way you think. You've got peacemaker potential.
I'm in.
Stop. That tickles.
Skip that.
Are we going somewhere? Is it far? I should let my friends know first.
Wait, where are you? Hey, interpreter, did you catch any of that?
Interpreter.
Maybe something needs to be moved, or there's someone else nearby who needs our help even more.
Okay, those two things sound completely unrelated. What are you even basing that off of?
Well, the longer I watch Asha, the more their body language reminds me of Saurians.
You better not be lying to me.
No, I'm serious. In Saurian body language, the same movement can often mean unrelated things. When my Saurian mom raised her wings, it either meant come home early for dinner or you're in big trouble, kid.
Wait, then how did you tell the difference?
When I was little, I couldn't. Let me tell you. I walked straight into a lot of punishments.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Super sturdy and fast, too. So this is a Natlanese hot air balloon? It's awesome. Up here, everyone! Look! We're back!
Oh god. Okay, a mysterious ocean of flowers that is acutely affected by the Asha's pigments is the paintball to color the chroma roller, which will absorb the power in the pigments to move forward. Painting the plants and leaves in its path in a variety of hues while giving color to the flowers in the fields and causing them to bloom. While coloring from flower fields, don't forget to add some color to nearby decorations.
Let's push the drum forward by firing paintballs at it.
Look! The paint seeds are blooming as the drum rolls by!
Okay. Okay, I still haven't got the hang of controlling the Asha. They have other colors.
And it's just like the Asha. Optimistic, hands-on, and always looking out for others. Oh, Paimon understands their connection now.
What the?
It must be because good people are drawn to one another.
Think. Balloon didn't even get hit by a single flying rock. Today must be another lucky day, huh?
Oh shit. Stop.
Laid bare.
Let's pick a different color. Let's pick blue again.
Looks like we're almost done. One final push.
Hell yeah. Alright.
Whoa! It looks incredible! The foam flower fields finally live up to their name. Great work, everyone! Now we've just got to let that staff member know, right?
That exquisite just over there.
Please, everyone, wait up.
Talk about perfect timing!
It's okay. Catch your breath first.
All right. I'm the staff member in charge of the main event here at Colorfall Cliffs, the Airborne Asha Challenge. Just now, gazing down from above, I saw the meadow suddenly transform into a sea of flowers. And the colors were so stunning. I almost dropped my binoculars.
Damn.
You
It was
truly
that
are
good.
the saviors of Colorfall Cliffs.
It was nothing. Besides, these two did most of the work.
Kind-hearted adventurers, would the pair of you consider taking part in our challenge? Or rather, would you do us the honor of bringing some color to our landmarks too?
Oh,
That sounds
trailer
awesome.
line.
But are you sure we're allowed to do that?
Of course, of course! I would love nothing more. You did my colleague such a huge favor, so it's only right that I thank you on his behalf. And I figured an experience like this would be even more special than a monetary reward.
No. We want the...
What she means is, we'd be delighted to help you out. So,
Fucking hell,
how do we
Paimon.
get there?
Please, follow me. We'll take the hot air balloon up.
Alright, ride the hot air balloon and head to the airborne Asha. And there's happened to be a teleport waypoint up there as well. The hell? And there's a Pyroculus somewhere. Hold on, brother. I need that.
Closing in.
That barely gave us height. There we go. Alright, let's ride the balloon. Must have been the wind.
All right, we're here. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the airborne Asha.
Whoa, it's so cool! I didn't expect it to be this big. Once it's painted, I bet we'll be able to see it from miles off.
Oh, for sure. As long as you're in an open area and the view isn't blocked by mountains, you'll be able to see it from anywhere. Whether that's the rooftop pool on Hoo-Ha Hill or the fjords on Tete Isle.
That's awesome! Your work's gonna be center stage! You've got this!
Man, I'm getting excited already. Should I go with my lucky color? Or maybe...
Wow! He sure had a lot to say this time, huh? Did you catch any of that, Chaska? Mind translating for us again?
That was a lot to take in. It'll take me some time to sort out all the different possibilities.
It's okay. I think I got the gist. The Asha wants to team up with me and compete against the Traveler.
Oh,
He likes helping people out by working together with friends. But it's the element of competition that turns ordinary activities into exciting adventures. And that's what he enjoys the most.
sure.
He really said all that?
More or less. I filled in the gaps here and there.
From his reaction, it looks like you got it spot on. The bond between you guys really is growing stronger.
All right, Asha. I like that idea. But we should make sure the Traveler thinks it sounds fun too, right? It's always important to check in with your friends and respect their opinions.
True. A chance to challenge our team captain, just what I've been waiting for. As long as you two are happy, that's all that matters. Even against all 5 of you, I'd still come out on
I
top.
like the confidence. All right then. I'll give it my all too.
Hey! How could you even think of going against Paimon? We're a team!
All right, well,
Oh,
if
come
both
on.
teams are ready, then follow me. I'll be the referee.
Right. Cover opponent Gravity Zone in paint. I see.
Orange it is then. The color of flames.
In this competition, you must try your best to paint over your opponent's gravity zone or the gravity zone that hasn't been painted over with your own paint. You will emerge victorious if your paint covers a certain amount of gravity zone. Balloon control with your opponents will throw paint bombs. When these explode, they will cover nearby gravity zones in paint, handing your opponent an advantage. However, if you use paintball to shoot the paint bombs before they explode, you can use them to prematurely explode and convert to your own color, using this to advantage to seize the upper hand. I see.
They're catching up. Fire the paint bombs. Quick.
What the? Since when did Bennett fight dirty like that?
Sorry, but I respect you as an opponent, so I gotta go all out.
No, you don't. How the fuck do you aim? E?
You got this,
Oh,
Traveler.
shit.
Go, Bennett, go!
No matter how high you jump, they're not gonna see you.
Yeah, but I can still send them encouragement and good vibes. Come on, Traveler! You've got this!
What am I doing? This is so confusing.
You've got this, Traveler! Go,
No matter how high you jump, they're not gonna see you.
Yeah, but I can still send them encouragement and good vibes. Come on, traveler! You've got this!
Alright. Getting the hang of it. Oh my god, we're so hot. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh my god. Can we do it again?
You've got this, traveler! Go, Bennett, go!
No matter how high you jump, they're not gonna see you.
Yeah, but I can still send them encouragement and good vibes. Come on, traveler! You've got this!
Oh, that's how you go up.
You've got this, traveler! Go, Bennett, go!
No matter how high you jump, they're not gonna see you.
Yeah, but I can still send them encouragement and good vibes. Come on, traveler! You've got this!
How many times are you gonna say that?
You've got this, traveler! Go,
I'm gonna go
Bennett, go!
insane from that. Stop saying that.
Yeah, but I can still send them encouragement and good vibes. Come on, traveler! You've got this!
This seriously gonna take like this long? Are you insane? Oh, you. Great.
You've got this, traveler!
This is annoying.
Go, Bennett, go!
No matter how high you jump, they're not gonna see you.
Yeah, but I can still send them encouragement and good vibes.
I am getting annoyed.
You've got this, traveler! Go, Bennett, go!
No matter how high you jump, they're not gonna see you.
Yeah, but I can still send them encouragement and good vibes. Come on, traveler! You've got this! You've got this, traveler! Go, Bennett, go!
No matter how high you jump, they're not gonna see you.
Yeah, but I can still send them encouragement and good vibes. Come on, traveler! You've got this!
Oh my god, finally.
All right, with that, the the Traveler takes the first round. Both competitors, please head to the top of the airborne Asha for the final showdown.
The Traveler's a tough opponent, but if I want to get stronger, I can't let up. Chroma Blast mode? I'll try it. Now that's what I call a blast! This is awesome!
Oh, brother.
That doesn't sound good. Better strike back with some color of our own.
Fuck you mean paint the goggles? What?
Chroma Blast mode? Here we go! Huh? The visor's covered in paint? I can't see a thing now!
Try spraying the hot air balloon sun visor.
Uh-oh, this is bad.
Just when you think it's your lucky day, I take it all. That was cringe. I'm so sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, I needed to focus there a lot. I
That was so much fun.
I was so quiet.
Thanks for a good match, Traveler. Yasha and I had a great time.
I should have asked for Paimon's help.
Oh, so now you remember Paimon. Bit late for that.
Uh-huh.
Nice work up there, guys.
Congratulations for taking home the win, Traveler. And a big shout out to our magnanimous benefactor and his Asha companion for their amazing teamwork. When I heard you interpret what the Asha was saying earlier, I didn't quite believe it. But after this match, I have to say, I'm truly impressed.
Same here. Both of you had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. It felt just like watching the finals of the pilgrimage.
Yeah, honestly, the more heated things got out there, the more I wanted to fly up and fire off a few bullets myself.
What, you got paintballs on you or something?
Something like that. The final color would be a bit of an unknown, though. And I couldn't guarantee that Asha would stay airborne after I was done with it.
Well, we're now just one step away from completing the airborne Asha. Our two heroes just need to light up the airborne Asha's brushes. Looks amazing, right?
That looks
I
horrible.
can recommend a viewpoint that'd be perfect for a group photo.
All right, the airborne Asha's looking great, and everyone's in the frame. Chaska, move a little closer to the middle.
A job well done.
Everyone ready?
Oh,
Hey,
oh.
you need to get in the picture too. Yep, just 1 sec, and we're good. Okay, all set. 3, 2, 1. Asha!
That was not the deep post. Okay. Screenshot. Alright. So focused, okay. What? Ah, okay.
Ah, something with which to commemorate this occasion.
Okay. What else? During the okay, well, do we need to do this seriously? But I don't want to play the game. Okay, is there any markers as to where? Not at all. Grizzly Ridge. Grizzly Ridge. Oh yeah. Oh, I completely missed that. I'm blind. How the hell are we even gonna go there? By brute forcing, baby. I'm gonna abuse fucking. I'm gonna abuse Farina here. So that we can walk. Oh shit. No enemies, they said. I beg to differ. That looks like an enemy to me. Okay. That's the Tete Isle. Alright, Farina.
The show begins! Ah.
Just in case we dove down. Alright, here we are. And first things first, let's unlock the teleport waypoint. What the fuck? Why are they talking? Okay, where is it? Alright, these are just.
Brave adventurers,
Oh, okay.
welcome to Villa Guitzley.
I thought it was
You're
just
in time to
side
witness
quests.
Our annual Home Night celebration.
Ooh.
Another trailer
How
line.
did that? This place
Hello
Oh,
there,
shit.
Mr.
Sorry?
Nanasion.
The Nasian.
Excuse me, Mr. Nanasion. Could you point us in the direction of the town? Is there anything we should bring?
Just from hearing your question, I can tell I'm speaking to an experienced adventurer.
Hell
Just
yeah,
head
brother.
downhill from here, and you'll soon arrive at the charming town of Villa Guitzley. As for things to take, you'll need a bold spirit, a heart eager to help others, and a dash of courage to face any challenges that may lie ahead. Ah, I see you brought a little companion along with you. Would you mind keeping him in your bag for now? Just in case something
A bug.
unexpected happens.
A bug. You mean a cage, right?
Okay, all set. Brave challengers, your adventure is about to begin. I wish you all an exciting and unforgettable night ahead.
Rightio. Alright. Rightio. I'll Those pyroculoses, I'm just gonna do that by myself. That's not important for now.
Whoa! This cave's way bigger than Paimon expected. Looks like a lot of work was put into this town.
Hey, is that a bounty board?
Let Paimon see! 1 0,
What is
2
this
0s,
music?
3 zeros, 4.
Huh?
What? That's a lot more.
6 zeros. And there's even a 5 in front.
I did see what is this music. It's a pretty good music.
Holy! Something's coming!
Oh,
Esteemed guests, welcome to the beautiful town of Villa Guitzley.
uh-huh.
Jeez! You almost gave Paimon a heart attack.
You must be here for Poem Night. I'm sorry to report, we won't be celebrating the festival this year.
Oh, did something happen?
Not long ago, those Noach League ruffians ransacked our beautiful town
Back in
and
my
seized
day.
all our gold and treasure. Even now, their ringleaders still holed up in the town. And worse,
Back in my day,
he
I was
refuses
the
to leave.
governor.
He expects
Sorry.
us to do his bidding.
That's awful. Can't you do something about it?
Well, it's a long story. Anyway, you all made
Nice
quite a
voice
journey
acting,
to
though.
get here.
Pretty
Why
good.
don't we head over to the bar for a quick drink?
Pretty ruinous to innis. That sounds British. Ruinous to innis. Oh, that's whatever. Alright, that's bored. Wait, are these like... How are they talking?
Sheriff, you're back at last. Meh. Did you find anyone to help? Here, sit tight, and I'll grab you a drink. Meh. Meh.
Does it taste like ink? Oh wait, wrong event.
Hey, where's our booze? Why hasn't it been sent over yet? The boss made himself clear. If he has to come get it himself, he sets his own price.
Monka.
Aggressive much?
Time for some peacemaking.
Damn. Alright. FPS. May non-existent Valorant aim. Okay, I thought that was
There's more upstairs. Let's move.
To be fair, in my defense, it's been like 4 years since I've last played Valorant. Fuck's sake, what? Oh, don't tell me we're up to do it again. Bruh. That's annoying.
Whoa! This cave's way bigger than Paimon
That's annoying. Oh my god.
Hey, is that a bounty board?
Well, time to do the things that I do off stream. Skipping
Paimon see!
cutscenes. I'm sorry.
5 zeros,
Joking.
6 zeros. And there's even a 5 in front. That's 5 million.
Esteemed,
Jeez.
you must be
Oh, did something?
not long. Even now,
That's awful.
well,
Well, this is gonna take a while.
Sheriff, you're back at last. Meh. Did you
Meh.
find anyone to help? Here, sit tight, and I'll grab you a drink. Meh.
Meh.
Hey, where's our booze?
Bruh.
Why hasn't it been sent over
Come on,
yet?
hurry up.
The boss
Hurry
made
up.
himself clear. If he has to come get it himself, he sets his own price.
Aggressive much?
Time for some peacemaking.
Oh, you fucking bitch.
There's more upstairs. Let's move.
Get up!
That was the first time I've seen a chest do that animation.
Help! Help!
They're taking hostages? These guys are awful! Oh, why isn't it moving? Come on, come on!
Well, this is precarious.
When, oh when will our hero return?
Who is this hero you just mentioned,
Oh,
Sheriff?
fuck. Oh, you bitch.
Years ago, here in this town of ours, there lived a renowned gunslinger who always stood up for what was right. Famed for his unmatched courage and unparalleled sense of justice, he came to our aid countless times.
What happened next, Sheriff?
He disappeared, and no one knows what happened after that. Some say he took a new name, others claim he and his companions embarked on a one-way journey to a land as hot as the blazing sun. If you ever happen to run into him, please let him know how grateful we are for everything he did for us, and also that we miss him very much.
If we see him, we'll make sure to pass the message along.
All right, this is the Notesley Gang's hideout. I tailed one of their henchmen once, so I know how to activate the door mechanism, and I can get it open for you. But this place is under heavy watch. I'll be a sitting duck if I go alone. So, I need some backup.
What do you need us to do?
Knock out anyone who tries to get in my way.
Now that's a gutsy request.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Leave it to me.
I knew Chaska wouldn't need a lot of convincing on that one.
Traveler, cover that gun for me, will you?
Copy that.
Man, wish we had backup like this all those times we had to go sneaking around.
Oh, how I miss those times when we were just in the monster church.
Hold your fire. The sheriff's still sneaking in. When our moment comes, I'll let you know. We'll strike together. I'll hit the left, you hit the right. Wait for my signal. Get ready. Fire in the hole! Great job. Bit slow on the trigger, though.
It's fine. We're fine.
The sheriff stopped. Must be enemies up ahead. Shoot that bottle over there. We need to draw them out of their hiding places. Got him. Same old, same old. Fire together on my signal. Get ready. Fire in the hole. Nice shot.
She hit the one I hit, and the other one just magically smite. Not even gonna question it.
Looks like the sheriff triggered the alarm. A whole bunch of goons showed up. Right on time,
what?
if you ask me. Traveler, let's see who can take down the most.
Oh, come on, that was a snipe dog.
Oh, sorry. That wasn't meant to be a taunt. It's kind of a Kukasaur SOS. Man, you're a tough opponent, that's for sure. Must have done it
Oh.
on instinct.
It's coming back to me. Come on, channel all my Valorant fucking skills I got
Wow.
4 years ago.
You won, Traveler. You're a pretty good shot. Almost seems like you've done this before. Here, let me teach you how to fire off rapid bursts of bullets. It might come in handy someday.
Oh, shoot.
What happened?
I got distracted for a split second. And now the sheriff's been caught.
Let's go
Oh,
after him.
Bennett. It appears as though Achaska's been tinkering with the toy cannon. You can now hold the special skill button to enter target acquisition mode. You can then fire at all targeted enemies at once by letting go of the button. Let me get this fucking first. Wait. Alright.
An ambush?
Now's your chance to try out the trick I just taught you.
About that. We're gonna die. I don't want to repeat that again. I don't want to. Alright.
Aha! The meddling outsiders have arrived, I see.
Careful, boss. They got a gun.
A little firepower's got you spooked? Disappointing. All right then, show-offs. Let's see who's the
Alright then, show ups. Well, that's just cheating.
There's a ton of smoke over there. What happened?
He got away.
Whoa. No one outruns Chaska's gun.
Truth is, the leader never planned to fight us. All that talk was just a distraction, a way to create an opening. He was planning to make a run for it all along.
Huh. Acting all tough and then running away like that? What a joke. Uh-oh. The exit's blocked. Looks like another trap.
Row.
What should we do? Is there some kind of mechanism we can use?
Look! There's a bunch of cages down in the canyon. Let's go save those captives first.
Alright.
Something with which to commemorate this occasion.
Something at which to commemorate this occasion. Alright. Obtain key important item. Alright. Oh shit. Fuck. That scared me. Right. Okay, now you're just flexing at us. You fucking dumb bitch.
An impressive bounty.
Fucking dumbass. Alright. Show off. Ahem. There wasn't even room to stretch out my neck in that blasted cage. Alright, looks like we're just missing one now. Gotcha. Looks like you're gonna be retiring early. Let's go.
What could the children be up to?
Arlecchino, it's now's not the time.
Let them do as they please.
We're protecting a cardboard here.
Scoundrels! If you're gonna talk the talk, at least have the courage to
I fucking hate it when I have to talk this slowly
Let's check out that
so that
cave
I
that
won't
door
stutter.
opened.
I hate that.
Maybe we'll find a clue to help us escape.
It's just a shit habit of mine. I just stutter so much.
Camp?
Do you think that legendary gunslinger might have passed through here? Watch out!
Oh shit.
Where did all these monsters come from?
Action first! Talk later! Get behind me! Don't let your guard
I saw that. Oh no, I don't have any elemental shit. Oh shit. Oh no.
Swift is the swallow. Up and away. Let them fly.
Never mind, I have Lanyan.
transfixed!
There we go.
Alright, we've dealt with those monsters. And the abyssal energy seems to be gone too. Is everyone okay?
I got a scrape on my arm, but it's nothing. Doesn't even hurt. Oh, sure.
Didn't even
Sorry
pay
for
attention to
making
that.
you worry.
Yup, just a scratch. It hasn't been contaminated.
Glad to hear it.
Don't you think something weird's going on? I mean, those hilly troll rogues could be actors in costume, but there shouldn't be any actual abyssal monsters here, right?
Yeah, there's no way that's meant to be part of the
Villagers.
experience.
Plus,
Didn't
the way
see
we
any.
came in is blocked now. Everything was fine until the monsters showed up.
Oh no. My bad luck must be back. And I'm dragging everyone down with me.
Hey, don't think like that. Abyssal monsters can appear for many reasons. Being attracted by someone or something is certainly one possibility. Now isn't the time to blame ourselves.
True.
We should focus on identifying any hidden dangers instead. I still don't know what might have happened outside the cave.
You're right. Okay. I'll take the lead and scout ahead.
Sorry. I'm gonna have to call dibs on that one. We should do this the Natlan way. As the most mobile member of the team, leave the scouting to me. It happens to be a Flower Feather Clan specialty.
Sure.
All right. I'll go check on the situation outside. See you soon.
Wait, but the cave's still...
Get back.
Wait a sec, we're not...
Okay.
She sure is a fast flyer. I can't even see her anymore.
Well, at least there's a way out now. Wait, what are you looking at?
Beautifully written notes. A notice mechanism I'm gonna know. I can still see when it passes across my eyes. Rumors spoke of a man traveling from place to place, seeking kindred spirits to form an adventure team. Out of curiosity, I found a vantage point from which I could catch a glimpse of him, but nobody cared for some brush upstart from the collective of plenty. So there are few people around him, leaving me as his most conspicuous spectator. His speech wasn't bad. He wasn't the sort who loved to flatter others. And his words were simple and sincere. He believed in himself and his goal, like a wildfire, brave and fearless. I can't recall all the details by now, but I know that his excitement infected me. Still, nobody applauded him, and no one spoke to him. Watching the noisy crowd leave him behind, the man merely smiled inside. Then he bent down to pick up his backpack. He looked like he didn't plan on staying. Maybe I should try my luck with the Flower Feather Clan, he said. I was worried that he'd be disappointed. After all, we of the Masters of the Nightwind are not exactly avid adventure seekers. He looked over his shoulders at me, and I saw no trace of dejection in his eyes. He thanked me with a smile and resolve unshaken, as if the cold shoulders were mere brambles by the roadside, and every hardship just an interlude on his grand adventure. How can someone live life with a spirit so fiery and clear? I've always been curious about lifestyles that differ from mine. Later, Jaco joined us, and then Anja from the People of the Springs. I still remember that extraordinarily hot summer. Anja suggested holding a bonfire party at her house, and we practically into getting it ready. Leaped into getting it ready. The joy of meeting new companions and the anticipation of setting out for our future adventures combined had us drinking more than our fair share. When it was time to name our adventure team, the suggestions were about as coherent as you would expect. After someone tossed out the victorious scorching halberds, Makani raised the suggestion of calling us tech, pot, tech battles flint blades. Anja asked why he didn't want a grander name, and Makani responded by saying that his dream was not to become a hero, and so he needed no such ceremony, but I forgot to pronounce ceremony. There we go. That shocked us. That shocked us enough that we all sobered up slightly. Makani went to explain that this land had no shortage of heroes, and so that he wanted to do was forge a path for future generations to take, allowing embers of the future to grow and shine. Tech Battle's Flint Blades, the inheritance of embers, it was a beautiful name and full of meaning. Nowadays, it seems to describe us perhaps all too well. We were the ones who wanted to spread the name of Flint Blades through Tivat, but that dream yet to haven't that fuck, I can't read. But that dream's yet to come true. Once we had our child, though, we were the first to turn back. For the friends who trust us and accompanied us on all our adventures thus far, our decision has undoubtedly a selfish one. But as parents, what could be more important than protecting our child as he grow up? After all this time together, we already sense what our friends' answers will be, yet it does nothing to dull the guilt within. Saying farewell has never been an easy choice, least of all for our leader. Or perhaps this is just another sort of adventure for us. Right now, it's my turn to give Makani courage. After he did the same thing to me in the past. After he did the same to me in the past. Our friends said that they knew this day would come. They tasted us for a while. But my heart doesn't feel as heavy anymore. Makani looks to be in better spirits too. Anja suggested organizing a final farewell trip so we can enjoy one last holiday together. That's just like her. So she knows how to keep everyone happy and doesn't want us to live with any regrets. It's time to get busy again. Aside from all the packing, I'd like to prepare some special gifts for my friends. Oh right, I should also find a new album so I can store more pictures from our travels.
The Tech Pottles Flint Blades Adventure Team? Anja? Makani? Huh. Paimon doesn't recognize any of those names.
Interesting.
Neither do I.
The content itself seems fine, but it didn't say if anything else happened afterwards.
Well, guess we're still pretty much in the dark then. We should just make a note of it and move on for now. Everything okay, Bennett?
Yeah, I'm fine. You guys think it's probably better not to move anything around in the amusement area, right?
Yeah, better not.
All right then, let's go.
Alright. Seems quite curious, eh? Alright. Oh, there's a...
Is that an Asha? Wait, are Asha even allowed in Villa Gleetsley?
I'm pretty sure...
Think so. The staff member at the entrance even remind...
Oh shit, whoops.
Whoa! Look at all these Nochtling henchmen Chaska knocked out. Better than abyssal monsters.
El Capoctus something.
Oh, you still dare to chase after us, even after witnessing the good sheriff's downfall? I must admit, even I underestimated how persistent you outsiders would turn out to be. Very interesting. Take this!
Like this.
Quick, get rid of it!
It doesn't fucking help that we're moving.
Get to work, boys!
Oh, I need to hold it.
Just give it up already, El Capactus Hakirado. Everyone knows you're all prickle and no punch. Ooh, evil Paimon. Me likey.
Evil Paimon. Oh shit.
What the? Fool! Watch where you're throwing that thing! Huh? Oh no! Sorry, boss!
The music though. Damn.
You think this is where they're keeping the treasure? Hands up, punks! Who turned out the lights?
Your beloved son will never rise again!
Uh-oh. Stinky.
That was so much fun. You're really laughing at a moment like that? Hey! You splashed Paimon right in the face!
Yeah, well, that was unexpected. In a good way.
Alright. Hopefully that hit it. Nope. Alright.
El Capactus Hakirado's making a run for the cliffs! We can't let him get away!
Something with which to commemorate this occasion.
This is quite fun. Pretty good. Uh-oh. Shit. Well then.
Let him go.
Surrender now! And maybe, just maybe, I'll let him live.
Phew! That was one big hill. Paimon's hair is dry already. Wait, that's Shasta!
Bathroom break. I'll be right back. I'm back. Alright, let's continue.
And El Capactus Hakirado! And Nana... Paimon forgot the rest.
Shush! I'll say it one last time. If you want him to live, drop your weapons and surrender. You shoot or try any other funny business, and I'll throw him right off this cliff.
Please, I'm begging you, don't do this.
That's weird. What's Chaska waiting for?
I seem to be dropping frames. I'll enable Cloudflare warp. So the stream might cut off, but hopefully after that it will be a smooth sailing. If wants to cooperate, please. Technology is fucking annoying. Where are you? Alright. Connection is successful. Reconnection is successful. Let's see the stream if we're back. Looks like we are. Change scene. Yeah, alright. Okay, anyways, moving on. Maybe there really is a bad guy disguised as a villain.
You mean like someone replaced the actor?
Yes.
If we
Someone
factor in
probably
those abyssal
did.
monsters that came out of nowhere, does that mean this is actually real?
Enough! Even my patience has its limits. Back off now, all of you. Get away from the cliff.
Run, adventurers, run! Leave the town! Leave me to my fate!
Hey, that's... Alright, thanks for visualizing. Boom!
Thank you, brave
Well,
adventurers.
that's that.
You saved Villa Guizli, and you saved me too.
Is this scripted or... Oh, what the hell?
Hey, look over there!
Asha?
El Capactus Hakirado was played by a bunch of Asha?
Congratulations, everyone! You bravely chose the path of justice and vanquished the wicked El Capoctus Hokirato.
Uh-huh.
Okay, hold on. So, it wasn't real? We all freaked out for nothing?
I mean, there was cause for concern. I was worried too. Even though I didn't see any other abyssal monsters on the way here, I didn't let my guard down. Under normal circumstances, I would have taken the shot without hesitation. With Soul Sniper on my side, I'm confident I could get to the hostage no problem, even if the hostile tried to harm them. But this time, it seemed like our enemy was tainted by the Abyss, so we couldn't afford to take any chances. We had to factor in the worst-case scenario, so the only option was for the Traveler and I to strike at the same time, ensuring we took down the villain and rescued the hostage in one fell swoop.
Right.
Wow! Good thing you two got a chance to work on your teamwork against those lackeys earlier.
In hindsight, it's clear the only place where things went wrong was that cave.
So, since we cleared out those monsters already, we're in the clear?
We should be.
Sorry, I don't follow. By cave? You're not referring to somewhere inside one of our amusement facilities, are you?
Yeah, we came across an adventurer camp inside the cave. You know, near the spot where the sheriff snuffs it. Oh, sorry. That came out a little harsh.
But there's no cave or camp anywhere near there.
Are you
Sure it wasn't your
sure?
eyes playing tricks on you?
No, it was
No,
real.
definitely not. First, we were ambushed by monsters. Then, we even read through the adventurer's notes. There's no way it was just an illusion. Oh, we even have evidence. The scratch on my arm is still there. Guess there was a silver lining to getting hurt after all.
Huh? But that can't be. Villa Guitzley's meant to be a fully immersive experience. There's no way we'd leave in design flaws that didn't fit the theme.
That's actually a good point.
That's interesting.
Is something else going on here then? Paimon's getting a bad feeling all of a sudden.
Alright. Continue exploring na. Let's get out of here. There's quite a tall staircase. Not a staircase, like a ladder. Alright. Alright.
You know what? At the end of the day, we still did a good thing. We kept the town safe. So, if any more monsters show up, we'll just clear them out, like we always do.
Uh-huh.
Wow, such an awesome vibe. Yeah. Villa Guitzley is really cute.
Alright. This is so goofy.
I feel a bit more relaxed now. Yeah. Honestly, it's our fault for messing with stuff that wasn't part of the attraction. Ugh. This whole part of the trip's been an emotional roller coaster.
Uh-huh.
Wait, are you two still thinking about it?
If no one knew the cave was there, do you think it could be related to Tenochtitlan?
Yeah. I also think that Adventure Team's story is real. But I wouldn't be surprised if it took place a long, long time ago. Like, before this resort was even built.
We're here. You must have been waiting for us to take a group photo, right?
Wait, that reminds Paimon. Wasn't the bounty for getting rid of El Capactus Hakirado 5 million?
That's not real,
Mora?
Paimon.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see a single coin of that. If they actually had to cough up Mora every time he got captured, Villa Guitzley would have gone under a long time ago.
True.
Exactly! The prize isn't real Mora, just a commemorative Mora-shaped chocolate coin stamped with that
Oh, chocolate
number.
coin.
But since the chocolates aren't ready yet, I'll give you some easy breeze badges you can exchange for other items of your choice.
Oh, well. Paimon would have preferred the chocolate, but other gifts are fine too. I'll get the camera ready.
Screenshot.
Cactus!
There we go. Alright. Wait, I'll... Okay.
Let's head back and get some rest. With any luck, it'll be open to visitors by tomorrow morning.
Alright.
Good news, good news! Traveler! Traveler, can you hear me? Paimon, is she asleep or awake right now?
I'm all ears.
Must be worn out
Honkshu.
from all that fun yesterday, huh? Happens to me sometimes too. You feel fine when it's all go, 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 but then you finally get a chance to rest and it's like, good luck ever getting up again.
The meeting spot's been changed. Yeah, I already heard you loud and clear from next door. What happened to not being a morning person?
Well, that was when we just got here. Now I'm in full-on vacation mode, obviously.
Uh-huh. Oh,
And why are we
same
waking up
wavelength.
earlier and earlier the longer this vacation goes on? That can't be right. To maximize our opportunities for fun. Come on, Paimon, this is basic stuff. Looks like everyone's here now. Okay, I've got some great news to share. I just checked with the staff, and Tete Isle is finally open to visitors. Can I get a whoop whoop?
Whoop whoop.
Tete Isle, here we come.
How are you feeling now, Traveler?
That woke me right up. Let's get this show on the road.
Woohoo! A brand new day, a brand new adventure.
Let's go.
What's this? Wave machine from Wavy Bay. It looks just like baby Colosaurus. Adorable. Alright, alright. There a waypoint available for us? No, there isn't. How the hell do you head there? By brute forcing, of course. Let's go. We're just gonna work overtime for this. Well, I mean, there is a duck there. I'm guessing you can do it with that. Probably not.
Strike a pose.
Fine, not fine, whatever. That's Tete Isle. Can we there someone's meditating right now. Someone's meditating. Can we ride? to go there. We can't? Like, what? We can see it. There is a thing there. Can we swim? Well, I guess we can do this. Alright, well. Oh, okay, never mind. We're not even there to the proper island. Alright.
Renowned heroes, daring adventurers from afar, beloved guests, welcome to Tete Isle!
Brimming with energy.
Whoa! Bottle popping right off the bat? Huh. They're sure going all in on the atmosphere building. You got that right. Tete Isle's all about high energy party vibes. From our honey sweet aphemide to our exhilarating shows, there's something for all the senses. That's what the brochure says. And we're sure this place is rated E for everyone?
What? What?
Don't worry about it. I'm sure there are still plenty of things for little Paimon to enjoy. And if not, I'll personally fund something like that for our next visit. How about Mualani's Wibbly Wobbly Wonderland? Complete with
Wibbly
animal
wobbly.
slides, musical rocking chairs, and all. So, a kids' play area?
When is it open for business?
Come on, traveler, this way! The dance-off stage is calling your name!
Where? I'm eating, hold on. Eating a snack. Oh, the music. I've heard this before. Unfortunately, it's from a leak.
This must be where they put on their shows. It's huge.
The resort's grand opening ceremony will be held right here. We do not want to miss that.
Listen to it, so good. There we go.
Hey, you made it. Welcome. This is...
Oh, leave this bit to me.
Uh-huh.
Ta-da! This is the
Bro just left.
dance-off stage. The name rings a bell, but it sure looks different from the one we know.
It's a Shilonen original. As for the design, I'm guessing probably a client request?
Traveler, Shilonen recommended you as the DJ.
What?
She said you'd be the perfect person to set the place on fire with some high-energy beats.
You sure she didn't say something more normal like fire up the crowd?
Hey, the wilder the better, right?
How come she didn't come along herself?
'Cause she...
She?
I think she's pretty swamped with commissions right now.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead and
Sure.
give it a spin. She adjusted the modules and stuff to match your height, so
Okay,
it
how
should be
dare
a
you.
perfect fit.
Hey guys, the Yasha just noticed that the area around the stage hasn't been painted or decorated yet. Should we add some color first?
Ooh, that sounds like a great idea.
Are you sure we can just spray paint onto the panels? Okay. How about blue for this one? Alright. What else? Up there? Is it up? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, no. What are we missing? Star. Oh, for fuck's sake.
This is so awesome! The stage itself even looks like it's dancing.
Paimon can already imagine how amazing the show's gonna be. Hey, DJ, how about a quick spin? Call it a warm-up.
Sure, why not?
Woohoo! Shake it! Try pressing some of the
Oh
buttons
my
first.
god.
When you're ready, look to the right. Over here. See? Fire off that color cannon. Let's try the boat now. Launch the wave machine right as the boat passes. Look out! The boat's about to set sail.
Oh.
Nice! That's a wrap for the warm-up. You called that a warm-up, but are there
That's
really
it?
gonna be boats cruising around during the opening ceremony? Nope. That's when our synergy with the
Nope.
Traveler gets put to the test for real.
You really can't keep a secret, can you?
Anyway, time to decide where to head next.
Why is bro look so sad?
What are we gonna do?
Hey, something up over there?
Rhythmos.
Justin Green again. You know, the one who showed up first thing this morning?
He hasn't left yet?
I mean, the issue isn't how long he stays. It's whether we run out of Aphamide before he leaves.
Uh-oh. Paimon has a funny feeling about this.
Yeah, me too. Let's go ask.
Sorry to interrupt,
Ooh,
but
dressed.
that guest you mentioned? Yeah, there's a High probability he might actually be a friend of ours.
Oh, does a guy with 2 braids and a little white flower tucked under his hat match who you're thinking?
Ah, it really is tone deaf.
Oh, it is
Bard.
it's
You
Venti.
mean Bennett's travel buddy? That bard friend of yours?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just to be clear, Professor Venti is
Professor.
super responsible.
Uh-huh.
I swear, if this is the first impression he's given you, there must have been some kind of mix-up.
Bennett really hasn't seen the real Venti yet, huh?
Yeah, since sinistar timing niya.
Huh?
Huh. Anyway, your friend at a bar called the Dewdrop if you wanted to meet up with him.
Let's go.
Time to rescue Tete Isle. Alright. This it's a fucking Archon, by the way. He's a fucking Archon. They almost missed the chest.
An impressive bounty.
Oh, you can just enter. Alright, cool. Alright. Where's that? Where is he?
On the breeze drifts a fragrance.
His
I've
voice.
sorely missed.
Let's go.
Sunsetia's kiss, so tender, so sweet. But what's this? A fiery twist! A flaming flower's fury. A flare of searing heat.
Tone deaf Bard, look at you! Sitting here by yourself, sipping away at your drink without a care in the world. You're running this place dry, you know.
You wound me, fair Paimon. To think you take me for such an ill-mannered person.
Oh, no you don't.
Uh-huh.
Paimon can see you gearing up to make excuses.
Just give me a... Got it!
Quite loud.
Maybe participation in the brewing process was always meant to be a part of the Tete Isle experience. Why else would their stock of mead be so meager? It must be their intention for visitors to help replenish it.
You
Uh-huh.
crafty little... Oh. Fine. That actually does make sense.
It's been a while, traveler. These must be some of your new friends. Greetings.
Oh, allow me to introduce you. This is Mualani. She's unbeatable out on the water. Practically owns Wavy Bay. And this is Chaska. She's super dependable and so fast that even her bullets can barely keep up with her. And then there's this Asha, my new adventure buddy. We're really close already.
Hey there, everyone. You can just call me Venti. I like to keep things casual.
Uh-huh.
Hello.
It's so nice to meet you. Bennett's told us all about you.
Small world. I've heard quite a bit about you from a friend as well.
Oh, who? Kachina? Kanich?
Someone who knows how to party hard and drink even harder.
Come on, just tell us already.
Mawika.
It's a secret, and I expect anyone who's guessed the answer to keep it that way.
Man, you're nothing like I thought you'd be.
Oh, that's the friend he's talking.
When I heard Bennett call
Okay.
you Professor, in all honesty, I figured you'd be a lot older.
You're clueless.
Well, when I do turn old and gray, I hope I get the chance to hold another love poem crash course. You and the Mare Javari, so close and yet so far. One at the edge of the world, the other in the center of my heart. Well remembered, traveler. No matter how old I get, I don't think I'll ever forget the poems my students wrote that year. Such a charming little verse. A charming little verse indeed.
Oh, now's probably not the time for a trip down memory lane, is it?
Right you are. Now's the time to raise a glass in celebration of new friendships. Bartender, a few more glasses of that refreshing Aethamide I was just...
I'm afraid you just polished off the very last glass.
Well then.
Oh, that's an unlucky coincidence.
Our exceptionally, well-hydrated guest is certainly right about one thing, however. You're all more than welcome to take part in the Honeydew Craft Brew experience and try brewing some yourselves. Any takers?
Me and hydration station over here will both give it a try.
Sounds great! Where's it taking place?
That didn't take too much convincing.
Well, since the traveler was kind enough to answer on my behalf, how could I possibly turn down such a warm invitation?
It's just over there if you're interested.
In that case, why don't we all split up for a bit? We can pick a spot to regroup and meet up there later.
Oh, I know a place. A little bar called Me and Dew. It's a great place to relax, and there's more than enough mead to go around.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's meet there later then.
Alright. Johnny.
Oh, Me and Dew. Just Me and Dew. Such an aptly poetic name for what I'm sure is a veritable temple of inspiration.
Why do you talk
Don't
like
try to bat
this?
your eyelashes at Paimon. You're not allowed in another bar until you've at least attempted to replenish what you drank.
Well, I suppose you're right. Anyway, judging from the look on your face, I'm guessing you have quite a few questions for me. Why are you here? What brings you to Natland? And why are you suddenly bringing up your poetry class?
Why are you Easterot?
Questions, dear friends, are like bottles of fine wine. Cracking them open is all about waiting for the right moment.
Why are you so close? Why are you? You're sus. Oh, whatever.
He's been having a great time with the rest of us. Speaking of which, his sudden lucky streak wouldn't have anything to do with you, would it?
Why are you in Easterot of the same voice actress?
To say. Oh, you and your non-answers. At this rate, Paimon should have named you Axe Koi to avoid giving any actual answers barred instead.
This new voice actress for Paimon has already got it. Like, she's so good. They're so good. I don't... Yeah. Just in case.
Ah, you must be the guest in green I've been hearing about.
Frame dropping.
The one who cleaned out our entire stock of mead.
Word sure spreads fast, huh?
I fucking hate its frame dropping. Frame dropping so hard.
So irresistible. I felt like lowering my glass would have been an insult to your craft.
My, how very kind of you. Guests
Holy
of
amount
your
of glazing.
tolerance level are hard to come by. I meant no offense either. Please enjoy as much of our mead as you want.
In that case, once I'm done here, I'll be sure to head back for a refill.
He was being polite, Venti. Not giving you a return ticket to Booze Town.
Anyway, before the Honeydew Craft Brew experience officially begins, allow me to give you some background. Aphids play the central role in the brewing of Tete Isle's Aethamide. First, we guide the aphids to gather ripened honeydew from the brewing barrels, which we then collect inside a special device. After that, we refine it using the strength of our Tatankasaur companions. With a splash of added flavor or alcohol, the base can be transformed into a range of unique kinds of Aethamide.
So it's the aphids who do most of the work. Now, that's something you don't see in Mondstadt.
Alright. Why is it Aether? Okay, anyways. You can press summon to issue a command. Hold the command skill to enter aiming mode, deliver collected nutrients to the brewing equipment. Ikuyo.
The aphids here are docile little creatures. A nudge in the right direction is all it takes.
Ah, so that's how it works. Wanna see who can do it faster?
That's how you do it. What? What? Okay, hold on. Oh, put it there. I'm so dumb. No, what? Deliver it. What? What am I? Okay. Where is it? When entering a memo that I'm I've been putting it on the fucking. Oh. Alright. Can we get a repeat of this?
You've got this! You'll get the hang of it soon, I'm sure of it.
You fucking what? This bird is really gonna watch me, okay.
Uh-oh, bubbles are starting to rise. Make sure the little aphids steer clear of them.
Cunt. Alright. Fucking hell, finally.
Maybe whacking this lever might do something.
Damn.
All done.
Who'd have thought it'd be such a breeze? Those little aphids really pull their weight.
Hey, we should invite Diluc over to check it out. You'll be
No
lapping up
thanks.
Aphamide over at the Angel's Share in no time. Wait, no, scratch that. The last thing you need is more access to this stuff.
Exactly.
Forget about Master Diluc. Let's just sneak a couple aphids into our pockets and bring them back ourselves.
No.
And if
Can't
no.
put them in a pocket. We can always try stuffing them under a hat.
Your friend's quite the joker.
I don't think he's
He
joking,
is
but
joking, right?
I don't. Probably not.
Let's go meet up with the
He's
others
not.
and me and do.
What greater pleasure is there than
The unexpected. Okay. I haven't opened any waypoints, I see. Okay. And boom. Alright.
Hey friends, we're here.
Professor Venti, we were just talking about you.
We made a bet.
Oh, on what? How much I can drink? Who guessed the most?
Nope, we can't bet on that because
After this, I'm gonna end
we've all
stream.
seen it for ourselves.
After this sequence.
We were betting on whether you'd agree
This
to recite
scene,
one of your
cutscene.
poems for us. And what was the verdict? We all bet that you wouldn't. Aha! Trying a bit of reverse psychology, are we?
That's a move I like to call Wind Catcher.
Told you. This bard's a lot sharper than he lets on.
Well, yeah, cause he's the
appreciate
fucking
the compliment.
Barbados.
But you see, the key ingredient in the honey of inspiration is sweet, sweet nectar.
Ugh. Paimon knows exactly what that means. He's still not done drinking.
Well, you're in luck. Because Bennett already looked into that for you.
Mm-hmm. The boss said we just need to tell her when, and we'll be able to get some more.
Oh, your friend's here now. Bear with me for 1 second while I get the equipment up and running.
Uh-oh.
A whopper flower? Where did that come from?
Stand back, everyone, and clear the furniture. I'll handle this. Get out of here! Everybody stand back!
$10.80.
Phew, nothing got wrecked. How's Bennett? Is Bennett laughing?
Back in Mondstadt, whenever I gather flowers, at least half of them turn out to be whopper flowers, guaranteed.
Ah.
So, thanks to my bad luck, dealing with them is a piece of cake at this point. This one put up a fight, but I got it in the end.
Out of sight, out of mind. Come on, it's finally time for a toast.
I appreciate your help, brave adventurers. Though I do have one more favor to ask.
I thought that was my week.
Well, looks like the party's getting postponed again.
I checked the equipment, and it looks like the whopper flower was hiding among our brew blossoms. In other words, there might be a few more lying low in our storeroom. All I need is for you to head down to the cellar and clear out those pesky imposters. If you can
Among
manage
Us.
it, all your drinks tonight are on the house.
In that case, you can count me in too.
A dainty bard like you? Sure you can manage it?
Ha! Never doubt the morale-boosting power of a song. Just make sure to give me a moment to find a safe little corner to hide in.
Well. What is this combination, dude?
kidding. Hey, you little... Did you really think you could fool us with a trick like that? Let's shred, Sharpie!
That's one tap. Goddamn.
Uh-oh. Looks like the Whopper flower brought backup.
Don't worry, we still outnumber them.
Why no? Wait.
Think you can get away?
There we go.
How rude.
Let's ride!
There we go. 400,000. 482,000.
Give me a moment. I'll take care of the rest.
That should just about do it, right? If I'd known it'd take this long, I would have ordered something to eat.
I've got a grain fruit on me. Want some?
Thanks, but no thanks. How'd you even think to bring one of those?
I didn't. A kukasaur gave it to me on the way here. Said it was nice and juicy.
So kukasaurs just give you fruit wherever you go?
Damn.
You Flower Feather Clan folks live quite the life.
Everyone, please, make your way to the observation deck.
Whoa! Wow. Now that's what I call a breathtaking sight. Tete Isle was totally worth saving till last.
A moment all the more precious because of the toil that shaped it.
Well said, Bard. For that, you deserve a toast.
You don't have a
Speaking
toast.
of which, where's our drinks?
Coming right up.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I would much prefer to be outdoors right now. Why don't we take our food and drinks on the go and have ourselves a picnic on the mountain?
Great idea!
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold on! Shouldn't we take a photo first? Come on, Milani. You've done how many countdowns so far? Why is Paimon the one remembering this stuff?
Because I care more about the party than the prize.
Get into the photo too, Benti.
Oh, sure.
Look at the camera, everyone! Ready? 3, 2, 1!
Let's party!
I see a disc. What the? That didn't even give me a second. What the hell? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Huh, this chest is pretty good at keeping things fresh.
Well then. Guess that's it for now. I don't know if I will continue this on stream or off stream, but if I have a spare time, but seeming that this is a limited time event,
No,
it's 15 days, it's August 2, so 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 until August like 17, 16. Right. I think I can. Let's just alright. Well,
I like to swap out the
yeah, okay, anyways. Yeah,